So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit it with a piece of 180 real quick. I like to turn it down there again to about 600 for my sanding, between 5 and 600. Makes your sandpaper last longer. And good. That's it at 320. Something I like to do. A lot of people don't do it, but I do. It's raise the grain on this thing. I like my handles to be very smooth. So what I'm going to do real quick, I'm going to spray it down with a little water. Cherry's not bad about raising the grain. So we're going to put that on there. Let it soak for half a minute. Has anybody got any questions while we're at this moment?
How long is your tool rest?
Pardon me?
How long is that tool rest you're using?
Oh, I think it's, I don't know. That's my longest single one. I do have a double post that goes 28 inches. That's 15 inches.
Pretty nice.
Yet it comes in handy for something like this. Like I said, I've got one that's 28 inches, but it takes both banjos. And we don't need that. Okay, that's drying pretty good.
Johnny, I was watching you with that skew, and that's the most enjoyable part when you see somebody work with a skew. You can enjoy that.
Well, thank you. I try to use it and practice with it every now and then. So I use it quite a bit, especially on spindles.
It's an enjoyable tool once you know how it works.
Yes, if I ever figure it out, I'll be ready. Let's see. Okay, so that raised the grain on it right there. And what I did, I started out with 180, 240, and 320. So I'm going to go back to the 320 real quick and knock that down. Make it noisy for a minute because I'm going to turn this dust collector on.
I can say that Ronnie and I have seen that dust collector. He's got a system. It's nice. Watch that dust disappear.
I'm looking at that dust collector, and if Johnny don't keep both feet on the ground, I think it's going to suck him in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it does pretty good. That's 320, which is pretty smooth, but I'm going to hit it with 400. Call it a day here. I know a lot of y'all don't want to watch sanding, but it's kind of necessary. Let's see here.
It's not sanding, it's finishing.
That's it, finishing. When you put it that way, it sounds better. Okay. Hit a little bit of 400 here. And your higher grits, you really need to go slow, because if you don't, it's just going to skip right over everything. Okay. Okay. So that is basically where we're going to go. But I do one more thing here, and that is I'm going to put a little sand and sealer on it. Cherry doesn't require a lot of sand and sealer, but it's going to get a little bit. There's my antique Sun Herald newspaper.
You still make those things out of paper?
Well, actually, they don't here anymore.
Remember, it's that sanding sealer, and look at the pop. The chatoyan is coming out from 400 sand. Clean cut. Amazing.
Knock off some of that excess. And that sand and sealer is cut 50-50 with lacquer thinner. It's a lacquer sand and sealer. So get some of that out of there. Got my little burn marks deep enough that they're full of sand and sealer, so I'm going to dry them off. And I like the lacquer-based sand and sealer. It just dries so fast. And that's dry. Okay, so the next step, I'm going to come in here with a little bit of Yorkshire grit or any kind of abrasive paste. There's several of them out there on the market, and they all seem to do the same thing. Because we've got it down to 400 grit, so we're going to put a little abrasive paste on it and kind of buff it up.
Johnny, for those wondering, abrasive paste is not a finish. It's a conditioner to bring the material down to an even, smooth finish.
Right, and it's kind of like using a 1800, 2000 grit, because it will smooth it out even more than we did with the 400 grit. And I'll put lacquer over the top of this. Or sometimes I've used CA glue, but normally lacquer, because you can't really tell a whole lot of difference in them. What I have here, one of these is done in lacquer and the other one's done in CA glue. and you really can't tell the difference in them. They're just they're both good finishes, and they're durable enough for what I'm going to use them for.
Johnny, the way that you're using that abrasive paste, I'm glad to see it. You put the sand and sealer on, and then you come with the abrasive paste. A lot of times
Right.
you'll see people just put abrasive paste right on bare wood, and that's not the way it's recommended.
No, it's not. Not at all. All I'm doing is working in this abrasive paste, and that's going to smooth it out, just like compounding an automobile or something. When you put a rubbing compound on it, it's basically the same thing here.
And for you younger members, compound used to be the way we polished cars a long time ago.
Yes, it is. I guess I'm showing my age there. Now I just want to be sure I get all of that abrasive paste off of there, or at least most of it off of there. So I've turned it up a little bit, probably about 1,500 RPM, somewhere in there. Cleaned out my burn lines. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, now, and I've heard people say, well, you can't put a lacquer on it if it's got an abrasive paste on it because that has some wax in it. But that is not true. I've got things that are done with abrasive paste, and I've sprayed them with lacquer, and been that way for years. Never had a problem. Okay, that's just sanded and abrasive paste on it right there. So clean these little black lines out of here. Make sure I got all the abrasive paste.
Please note that he's using a piece of
Paper towel.
Paper towel, not cloth. Paper towel.
I just want to make sure I got everything out of there. And there we go. That is ready for lacquer. So okay, so somebody's going to ask, well, what about the end there where you had your step center? I got a solution for that. Bear with me 1 second here.
Members, in a few minutes, we're going to return to gallery. I've had the video gallery, I believe, is ready to load and go back again. We're also going to be collecting information through our website for our event calendar. I see a couple of things popped up on a chat tonight. That's where if you got an item, a calendar item, regardless of if it's pay-per-view or whatever, you can put it in the chat. We will edit our events calendar, and it's open to the entire world. So if you got something to list, put it in there.
Okay, so what I've done here is, I'm going to move this out of the way. We don't need that anymore. Are we still there?
No, we lost you. We lost your iPhone. We're gonna get something else. Johnny's iPhone.
Somebody was calling me on it. That's what it was. So let me see if I can get rid of them. Okay, I should be back.
Your student loan, Johnny.
Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't have one of those, but the VA took care of that. So, at any rate, here we go. There's the end where my step center was. In order to cover that, you can go down to Michael's or Hobby Lobby and get a furniture tack. A furniture tack is going to go right into there. I'll leave it enough so we can drive it in, and that covers that. And then this
Great
piece
idea.
here.
That's a great idea.
I've
got some of those.
Yeah, it kind of serves
right
two
there.
purposes, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. So that's what we're looking at there. Is, of course, a finished tool, but I'm not going to epoxy this in or the tack because I still have to spray it with lacquer. So, but that
Nice
is,
looking handle, Johnny.
well, thank you. That's that's why I like them there because it's just so handy to take them out when you go to sharpen them. It just really is. If you look, notice on the spindle gouge there. It's a whole lot easier to sharpen them at that big handle on it. So, but that's why I use those type of tool handles. And you can get those from anybody. There's several people that sell them, you know, Cindy and Doug and my son, everybody makes them. So there, if you like to do that, that's what I like. So that's just one of those things. And that's it. That's how I make a tool handle.
Nice demo.
Well, thank you. Any questions?
Good demo,
Huh?
Johnny.
Thank you.
Thanks, Johnny. That
Thank
was
you.
real good.